Hi, everybody, and welcome to Proline Daily, the Monday edition, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America, coming to you direct from Las Vegas. We will continue with playoff action, Major League Baseball. Jim Feist is not on with us today, but John Cranton is. I'm Dave Koken, and Jim is 95-55 in his last 150 NBA plays. That's a lengthy run of success. 3-0 on Sunday with the Clippers, Rockets, and the guaranteed winner on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Good stuff, John.
Yeah, he's certainly seeing it right now. Actually, 10-2 on Sunday with all plays, 2-1 in the NHL, including a nice big underdog play with Ottawa, 5-1 in baseball, and a perfect 3-0 Sunday in the NBA, including the Clippers Rockets. And he had a guaranteed release on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they got there as well. So if you want to get on board with Jim, 7 straight days of plays in all sports for just $25, just call 888-777-4155.
Well, I had quite a weekend because in the Valero Open, Kevin Chappell was a selection and 26-1 into the winner's circle. So, not much you need to say beyond that. That's a pretty strong win. And so it was a good weekend. Also haven't done much in the NBA, but I did get involved with a couple of first half plays on Saturday and nailed both of those easily with Atlanta and Portland. And it turned out to be good strategy because had I played the full game with Portland, well, I guess I would have covered the spread, but it sure wouldn't have been as easy because they lost by 6. I believe they lost by 6 and barely, pushed or landed on the numbers. So
yeah, it actually went down to 5, so you were right to play the first half.
Yep, I thought that was the move. We'll talk about tonight's game. Oh, if you want to get on board, just call the number that you see on the screen and get in. I can tell you I won't have any golf this week because the golf tournament this week is the Zurich Classic, and they've decided to go to a team format, alternate ball team format. I have no idea how to break that down, so I'm not going to get involved in that. But there'll be plenty of hockey, plenty of basketball, and obviously plenty of baseball, where the focus is right now. 2-1 on Sunday, so that worked out pretty well. And we'll try and knock off something tonight. Let's go to Milwaukee and Toronto as they match up in Game 5. They're going back to Toronto with the series all even at 2 games apiece. And, John, a very even-looking series so far. So this, I would think this is a series that really has a pretty good chance to get to 7 games.
Yeah, I agree. And Toronto being a 6-point favorite, boy, that's quite a bit for a series that I think is even. I agree with that. And the thing is, when the series started, I thought Toronto was the better team, not by a wide margin, but I thought they'd win this thing in about 6 because of the balance and the talent and the defense. But after watching it, Milwaukee's a better team than I gave them credit for. They really play hard for this coaching staff. They have played defense for the last 2 years under this. This isn't anything new. Here they are 10th in the NBA in points allowed, and they've been great in this series. They're off a rough game, but here it is 2-2. They can't ask for much more than that. What we're seeing is the money is coming in on the underdog a little bit from 6.5 to 6, and they're leaning toward the under down to 192. Toronto's on a nice run overall of 15-3 going back to the regular season, 9-6-1 against the spread. However, they've been an erratic team, inconsistent when it comes to Vegas spread numbers. They've lost 4 consecutive games against the spread at home, and after a victory, just 2-6 against the spread. So I think it is an even game. I'm surprised they're a 6-point favorite here. I think it's going to be very close. I also look at this game as being a bit of a defensive battle here. I'm going to follow the money with the under because Milwaukee's doing very well, shooting over 41% from long range. They have certainly enough to hang in there against this team as they have this whole series. So I'm going to go with the underdog here and small play on the under, but also the dog. I think it's going to be a close one as well.
Well, I agree with the underdog, and certainly the odds makers agree with the underdog. If you look at the line pattern in this series, Game 1, Toronto, and it was 0-0 at that time. Toronto was 7. Game 2, because Toronto had lost the first game, so the odds makers knew there'd be some zigzag action coming in, and they opened at 7.5, and it went up to 8. In fact, mostly 8. There might have been a touch of 8.5 out there, but mostly 8. But this game, it opened 6.5, but I would say a true opener was more like 6, because the books that don't open early mostly I think they all came 6. So the odds makers have made this closer than they did in games 1 and games 2. And the odds makers kind of know what they're doing as far as this stuff is concerned. Action's still coming in on the Milwaukee side. They are getting the bulk of the play. It's not an overwhelming margin, but the majority of the tickets are on Milwaukee, and the majority of the money appears to be on Milwaukee as well. I would go that way. I'll include myself. I lean Bucks, and that's the free play for today, is the Milwaukee Bucks plus the points. Let's also look at the Wizards and Hawks. The home team has ruled in this series, although the first 2 games were pretty competitive, and then the third game wasn't, with Atlanta making a big statement on their home court. They dominated that game wire to wire. So, the Hawks might be feeling pretty good about themselves right now, John.
Yeah, and this is another game where we're seeing the same thing happen. The money's been coming in a little bit on the underdog and the under, down to 2.5 on Atlanta at home, and the total down to about 210.5. Although it has been an up tempo and over series of 2-1. And keep in mind, the home team is a perfect 3-0 against the spread, so that home cooking has been cooking. Can anyone really defend this guy, John Wall? Boy, is he's something with his quickness. He's having a great series, and the thing is, the Wizards, they're certainly capable of winning here. I agree with this being a very close betting number. They already have back in January. They were a 3-point underdog like this, won the game at Atlanta in a defensive battle, 95-92. But as you mentioned, Atlanta's rebounding muscle really showed up at home, as Millsap was terrific. They also have Dwight Howard in the paint. Millsap was just a beast, 14 rebounds, 29 points in the game that they had to win. But be careful about backing Atlanta, because when they allow an opponent to score over 100 points the last game, they're only 7-17 against the spread. So the way I'm going to look at tonight's game would be an up-tempo offensive show. Certainly John Wall is unstoppable. Atlanta had its offense going at home. They can get high percentage shots with the glass. And keep in mind, the over is 4-1 with these team play. And Washington's defense not so hot on the road. 18-8 run over the total overall, and 11-5 over on the road, Dave.
We also have an interesting development in this series. There appears to be some bad blood between a couple of players. Paul Millsap and Markieff Morris are not getting along, and you wonder if it might get a little bit rough out there in Game 4.
You're talking about a physical game with some elbows being thrown in the low post?
No love lost from these two guys right now.
No, not at all. And we saw that a little bit in the Boston series with some words being exchanged, and now we're seeing in Atlanta. Playoff action heats up. It's a time for intensity between the players, which can also lean toward defense in a lot of these games as well.
Decent schedule in baseball tonight. I've got one play that I think is definitely worth following. If you want to check it out, it's part of the special offer I've got right now. So make sure and call the number. And of course, if you want to get free plays every day on a recorded message, we have that at 888-294-1970.
That's right. And if you want to get Jim and Dave's plays, you just call 888-777-4155. Plus, you can get those free plays daily by right to your cell phone by texting GAME, G-A-M-E, to 25827.
And that's going to do it for the Monday edition of Proline. We'll try it again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow with another edition of Proline Daily from Las Vegas.